diving. Hope comes and stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Hello. Well, hi, Meow. Move back. Does that give you enough room? There you go. Oh, here I am with cat in lap. I'm gonna be in language of the heart. Language of the heart. No, kind of a weird day, man. Just weird. Weird. He doesn't like his butt scratch. He doesn't like, see, like, stop that. Stop that. He's up. Stop that. Please stop that. Like, stop scratching my butt, Dad. Can you say hi to Becky? Say hi. Meow. Can I get a meow? No. I cannot get a meow.
Were you in a car accident?
Somebody said, you guys get these texts also. It says, good morning. My address is blah, blah, blah. See you in the morning. I said, I will not be there. Take care. No worries. Hope everything's okay. I don't know who this person is. All right. Yeah, sure. Deep breath. Just kind of one of those moods where I don't know how to explain it, dude. I hope I'm not interfering with your live here or anything. Good, go ahead, take over. Go ahead. Go ahead. Can I get a meow? No. No. You're just gonna circle in my lap. He just wants pets. He does. He's just saying, I love you, Dad. Thanks for taking me in off the street when I was all skinny as a rail and you could see. And now look, fat. Look at that fatty fat. Yeah. All right. Go play or something. Lose some weight, dude. All right. If you're here, please say hello. It's my own fault that they're I'll just say my cats are healthy. They're all fat. Oh, I don't regulate their eating. No, I don't. Because if you think I'm gonna be woken up 5, 6 o'clock in the morning to feed a cat, ain't gonna happen. All right, let's get started. Dangers in linking AA to other projects. All right. This would be part of the preamble. And so, the preamble is just all the traditions kind of slammed into one paragraph. Hey, Chris, it's good to see you, man. You finally caught me live. So I am actually here and live right now. So I have been getting your calls, but you keep calling me during meetings, bro. Keep calling me during meetings. But this would be the part where it says AA has no affiliation with outside issues, nor do we care. But we kind of should. But let's see what they have to say about it. Dangers in linking AA to other projects. March 1947 is when this was written. Our AA experience has been raising the following set of important but yet unresolved questions. First, should AA as a whole enter the outside fields of hospitalizations, research, and non-controversial alcohol education. Second, is an AA member acting strictly as an individual justified in bringing his special experience and knowledge into such an enterprise? And third, if an AA member does take up these phases of a total alcoholic problem, under what conditions should he work? These are great questions. Okay. I'm going to give you my view, which may go against what they're saying. So I might be wrong here in a couple places, but sometimes in order to find out what is right, we may need to be wrong. All right. So should AA as a whole enter outside fields of hospitalization that are non-controversial? The answer would be no, because there aren't any. There's not any that are non-controversial. Second, is an AA member acting strictly an individual justified in bringing his special experience and knowledge into such an enterprise? Well, I have expertise in different areas of alcoholism, but I have friends that are financial planners that help me out. That's an area of expertise, and met them in AA. Sometimes we help each other get jobs, but I don't think that's quite what they're going for. But let's get to what they're going to say here. With respect to these questions, almost any opinion can be heard among groups. Generally speaking, there are three schools of thought: the do everything school, the do something school, and the do nothing school. We have AA so fearful we may become entangled or somehow exploited that they would keep a strictly closed corporation. That they would exert the strongest possible pressure to prevent all AAs, whether as individuals or groups, from doing anything about the total alcohol problem, except, of course, their straight AA work. They saw the specter of the Washingtonian movement among alcoholics 100 years ago, which fell into disunity partly because its members publicly took up cudgels for abolition, prohibition, and whatnot. These AAs believe that we must preserve our isolation at any cost, that we must keep absolutely to ourselves if we would avoid like perils. Okay. Now, for an AA, if AA went for prohibition, it would kind of go against a few things, like the hate of alcohol. They're finding out that they're finding out. We've always known. Okay. I mean, how did they used to mark liquor? Triple X. What does triple X mean? It means poison. That's the sign for poison. But the Washingtonians, which was a lot like AA, they made the mistake, and see, we learned from their experience, right? And making that mistake, they went in, and it was a politically charged thing, and it divided them, and that was it. It was over with, because it did not have the openness. It did not reserve the right for the individual thinking. So then we have the AA, who would have us do everything for the total alcohol problem, anytime, any place, in any way. I get that too. I get the first one. I understand it. I'm very protective of AA. Probably a little too much. I was in a 10 a.m. meeting. Somebody brought up a place I'm not particularly fond of, and I said why. I did not make it an outside issue, but I'm like, that is a dangerous place. I knew what was going on, right? Then we have the AA who would do everything. In his enthusiasm, he not only thinks his beloved AA is cure-all for drunks, but he also thinks that we have the answer for everything and everybody touching alcohol. There is no one alpha omega. Okay? There's a lot of places that are doing this now. Treatment centers are doing it. Treatment centers should not have their own detox. No. Time after time I've been hearing, Dion, I had a bed. It had been there for 2 weeks. I showed up, you know, I was 2-3 weeks sober, but they wouldn't let me in because I was sober. Forcing people to go through their detox, making it unsafe to make you safe. Can't go for that, man. Can't go for that. And since we are the people that tend to refer to places, right? So the difference is there's the Dion that's an AA member, and then there's the Dion who's an advocate for recovery, and they're two separate things. Sometimes these things intermingle, because I bring up AA a lot. Doesn't matter where I'm at, because you know. And I've been asked, you know, are you here to represent AA? I'm like, no, not even that. Mm-mm. No, I'm just a person that knows that it works. You know, can we stick with that? People always ask me, well, who do you represent? I'm like, why do I need to represent something? Like, I don't, there's no, you know, because everybody's with companies and, you know, that, you know, and I'm not one of those people, and it tends to confuse people that I'm an advocate. I speak for the people as a whole because there's a fear out there. Okay. But they have got to be separate. They have to be, right? And I'm going to tell you now, I love AA, but it is not the only way. No way, right? So, AA is not a cure-all for everything. It is not. AA did not cure my PTSD. No, it did not. But what AA did was get me to the point where I could work on my PTSD. But I needed professional help. All alcoholics need professional help. It is not always a therapy, psychology kind of thing. What else could it be? Well, it could be a judge who is like, you know, I'd rather you got your life together than put you in jail. Doctors, right? Finally being honest with our doctors about what's going on, right? Um, Quite often, you know, you'll hear people, hey, you know, I went to the doctor, they gave me pain medicine. No, it's a not, we always have to qualify it, but it's not narcotic. Okay. You know, and I understand why. I've got, they're not pain meds. It's just, you know, naproxen, which is a fancy way of saying beefed up Advil. It's an anti-inflammatory, but there's no high. It doesn't say. The key is don't drink alcohol with this. You know, then I know I don't have a narcotic, right? Um, he strongly feels that AA ought to place its name and financial credit squarely behind any first-rate research, hospital, or educational project. Seeing that AA now makes the headlines, he argues that we should freely loan out our huge goodwill. Says he, why shouldn't we AA stand right up in the public and be counted? Millions could be raised easily for good works in alcohol. And it's true. It would. You see it today. People, you know, but what's really going on? Where's that money going? What's the use going to be? Here's the problem with that is when it comes to these things, we alcoholics just aren't very good at it. We're not. We will go the wrong way with it. You know, money cannot, and I get asked quite often, well, where are we going to get the money? I'm like, what are you talking about? If money is your first concern, then maybe you and I don't have the same intentions. Maybe you and I don't have the same intentions. The judgment of this enthusiast is sometimes be clouded by the fact that he wants to make a career. He wants to make it a career. But with those who with most who enthuse so carelessly, I'm sure it's more often a case of sheer exuberance, plus, in many instances, a deep sense of social responsibility. Now, I tell you right now, I have a deep sense of social responsibility. It's partly why I do what I do. But I also feel like I've been called to do some things. And even in the last few months, I've said, okay, I don't have to do it anymore. I don't have to do it. But I turn around almost every day and God's like, I need you to take care of this. I need to take care of this. He just put 2 more people in my life that's going to help me take. So, see, sometimes ignoring the problem is not going to make it go away either. There's a balance in all of this. And the number one quality that must be had is humility. Humility. Okay. So I don't utilize it very often, but there are a couple people that I've had to get on board with the detox. And I've said this, the detox and what you are doing, your job would not be happening if I did not get the $3.1 million for you to do it. So I would suggest that you do it. Sounds pretty fucking mean, huh? Yeah, I raised that fucking money. But I ain't gonna say it anymore. I only have 1, 2 people listening. So it's not like it's gonna be in the headlines tomorrow. And it doesn't need to be. See, humility. You gotta have humility and understanding what my intentions are, right? I was talking with some guys on Friday, and I know that they get approached all the time. Hey, we could do this and we can do that. And I told them, I said, my number one intention here is just to find other people like me so we can do the right thing. If we do other things later because we have a good relationship, then we'll do that. But for right now, we don't know each other well enough. Because that's what it is, man. There doesn't need to be some kind of sales pitch with it. Right? So we have the enthusiasts and the ultra cautious, the do everythings and the do nothings. And I bet we're going to land right in the middle. But the average AA is not so worried about these phenomena as he used to be. He knows that out of the heat and smoke there will soon come light. Presently, there will issue an enlightened policy palatable to everyone. Tested by time, that policy, if sound, will become a tradition. Right? So part of it, because what is AA? Well, it's the process of replacement. Well, that's, I'm not going to go around and buttonhole everybody saying we're doing it wrong without a solution. Otherwise, I'm just whining. Right? Right now, I think somebody at the Colorado Consortium for Prescription Drugs needs to answer for all the money that they spent carelessly. Somebody needs to answer for it. And it isn't so that they go to jail or get in trouble or that it's so it doesn't happen again. That's my concern. I don't want it to happen again. Sometimes I have feared that AA would never bring forth a workable policy, nor was my fear abated by my own views, swung with complete inconsistencies from one extreme to the other. But I should have had more faith. We are commencing to have enough of the strong light of experience to see more surely, to be able to say with more certainty what we can and what we surely cannot do about these causes, such as education, research, and the like. All right. I'd like to bring something up. Okay. Experience counts. Experience counts in this. And I'm finding too. I mean, last week I was saying, because these people I was talking to on Friday, well, I did my usual vetting, and I can tell you now that process did not work for that person, and I was wrong about some things, and I'm glad I was wrong. And so, now I've got to be a little bit more open-minded about what's coming across my plate, while utilizing my experience. Good for you. Hi, Michelle. It's good to see you. It's good to see you. Just got a little bit of a headache. Probably because I won't shut up today. All right. For example, we can say quite emphatically that neither AA as a whole nor any AA group ought to enter any other activity than straight AA. Okay. Now listen to this. As groups, we cannot endorse, finance, or form an alliance with any other cause. However good, we cannot link the AA name to other enterprises in the alcohol field to the extent that the public gets the impression that we have abandoned our sole aim. And there's the other problem that we'll run into. What is our sole aim? To help the newcomer, to help the person shaking, trembling, with a shit ton of remorse walking in the room. If we're so busy supporting all this other stuff, then what's going to happen is that person's going to go there, and we're never going to really have the chance to be able to help that person. They will fall through the cracks, and then we will be doing a disservice for sure. And then the group falls apart, and then everybody's done. Then it's over with. All right? We must discourage our members and friends in these fields from stressing the AA name in their publicity or appeals for funds. To act otherwise will certainly imperil our unity, and to maintain our unity is surely our greatest obligation. To our brother alcoholic and the public at large, experience, we think, has already made these principles self-evident. All right, so now, though we now come to a more debatable ground, we must earnestly ask ourselves whether any of us as individuals ought to carry our special experience into other phases of the alcohol problem. Do we not owe this much to society, and can it be done without involving AA as a whole? Yes, it can be done. Right. I know a lot of people that work in the recovery arena. A lot. I know a lot of people from 12-step groups, from AA itself. Okay? I was a drug and alcohol counselor. Why are we good at that? Because we have our experience. Right now it's called peer support. And it's taken on anyway. Yeah, right. To my mind, the do nothing policy has become unthinkable, partly because I'm sure that our members can work in other non-controversial alcohol activities without jeopardizing AA if they observe a few simple precautions. Okay. And partly because I have developed a deep conviction that to do less would be to deprive the whole of society of the immensely valuable contributions we could almost certainly make. Though we AAs and AA must come first, we are also citizens of the world. Besides, we are, like our good friends the physicians, honor bound to share what we know with all. Therefore, it seems to me that some of us must heed the call from other fields, and those who do need only remember first and last they are AAs, that in the new activities they are individuals only. This means that if they will respect the principle of anonymity in the press, that if they do not appear before the general public, they will not describe themselves as AA, that they will refrain from emphasizing their AA status in appeals for money and publicity. So when I went to the meeting, right, I was the only person that wasn't hired by Adams County or Aurora Mental Health. The only person. And there's probably about 20, 25 of us there for that meeting. Actually, I think it was more than that. But I wasn't there as a person who was from AA. Now, I was there because I have a different view of how detox works than the rest of them do. How is that? Because not only have I been a client at detox, including the detoxes that these people serve, but I've also worked at detox, number one, when Colorado was very successful, and two, when Colorado was dead last. So I know the extremes, I know the differences. And because of that experience, I was able to contribute. Here's another rule I tend to have. When I was a recovery coach, when I was a peer support specialist, these are all just names. When I had my CAC at 20, okay, sponsees before clients. I ask recovery coaches all the time, are you sponsoring? No, then you shouldn't be a recovery coach. You don't even know how to sponsor somebody yet, and you cannot transmit something you do not have. This is what a role of a recovery coach is supposed to be: resources. That's it. It's not anything else. But that's, but when we alcoholics are not healed, when we don't become recovered alcoholics, then old behavior will crop up. It will happen because we haven't reframed our mind yet, right? And nobody ever says, now, am I going to these places and saying, hey, you need to call the AA hotline instead? Yes, but what am I doing? I'm solving a problem for them, because now everybody's like, you need to hire peer support. You need to hire peer support. And they started doing that, but they don't even drug test these people. And I'm going to tell you now, they suck at their job. These peer support that at the detox. And number one is because they're not getting paid enough. And anybody with decent experience in this field is not going to go for that. So the solution was, why don't you call the people that don't want your money, that have the altruistic, that is doing an altruistic movement? Why is that important? Because we're the depth and weight. We can help somebody get willing. We can help them understand the gravity of their actual situation, because we're not being paid, because we're not being given anything. We don't really want anything from them. They're drinking, and we don't want to go back to that. Okay. So we are the people that get them together to be prepared to do what? To go to treatment, IOP, maybe help them find a good recovery coach. I'm not against recovery coaching. I'm just against how it's done. I'm not against peer support. I'm not against sober living. I went through the Phoenix concept. I went through my own sober living at the age of 18, but it wasn't like this. It wasn't a money thing. What we were was a group of Skid Row alcoholics who paid our rent every single month. And that in and of itself was a miracle. We didn't need more than that. We literally took people right off Skid Row and sobered them up. What were they going to give us? What amount of material stuff do they have to give us? None. So there's a lot of people that are in the field, but if you're going to be in the field, I'm going to ask that you have 2 to 3 years of sobriety and that you've gotten the right education. And if that is something that you want to do, please let me know. I know plenty of places, right? Check out allthewaywell.org if you're in Colorado. They're a great group of people. They really are. So, all right. These simple principles of conduct, right? Conduct, okay? Professionalism, ethics. Let's talk about that just a little bit. The Colorado Consortium for Prescription Drugs, they support an ethics class. Well, I was going to take it so that I could get some of the government grants to kind of help out a little bit with some other things. But the person that was teaching the class was caught in Medicaid fraud. So you tell me, do you really think it's smart to put somebody in a professional position who's been 2 months sober, 3 months sober? No. Well, they can help the person that has a week in AA, but not in the professional field. There's too many clinical things going on. There is a lot more to recovery than the 12 steps. A lot more. There are things that happen in AA a lot of people are not even aware of. It's a psychological thing. You don't have to be aware of them, right? if conscientiously applied, could soon dispel all fears, reasonable and unreasonable, which many AAs now entertain. On such a basis, AA as a whole could remain uncommitted yet friendly to any non-controversial cause, seeking to write a brighter page in the dark annals of alcoholism. We actually don't have much more here. Now you see a lot of posts out there that knock AA. That would be the dangerous ones, would it not? Okay, if what you're doing is so great, why do you need to knock something else? Why do you need to put something else down? If it feels salesy, the first thing I look at is the eyeballs. If they ain't shining, they're full of shit. They're full of shit. So, a concluding word. Several years ago, I believe that we might, in limited and cautious way, lend our name to selected outside ventures. One of these was a very promising educational project. I was asked by faculty members of Yale University, sponsoring the National Committee for Education on Alcoholism, whether they might hire an AA, and was that, of course, an AA could be engaged. Whoa. They might hire an AA, and could that AA for this special purpose break anonymity? So for our purpose, can you go ahead and break anonymity? No, because no one is bigger than, better than, less than in AA. No, that includes Bill W. And Bill's name shouldn't even be brought up. It's not, right? So my answer, of course, was that of course an AA could be engaged, that such an engagement could not by any imagination be professionalization of AA, as the work to be done would be in another field entirely, that if an AA could make a better educator, then why not? So see, he jumped on it. He was the one being offered the job too. There's another story. This story is kind of told in, not in this length, in the 12 by 12 also. Okay. I think it's tradition two or three. All right. Though there has never been much question that this was sound enough policy, the same could not be said for my reply of the matter of dropping anonymity, to which in this instance I gave approval. Now he's going to admit that he was wrong. That course has since proven mistaken. Yeah. A good AA friend of mine took this particular post and then dropped anonymity. The first effect was good. It brought AA a considerable amount of publicity and many members. On the educational side, the public was made conscious as never before that alcoholism is a sickness and that something could be done about it. So far, very good. But of late, some confusion has arisen. Because of the large amount of publicity linking the AA name and that of the educational project, the public tends to think AA has a goal as a whole has gone for alcoholic education, and there it is. Okay, we have no say on outside issues. AA as a whole, a group of Alcoholics Anonymous, has no say so. I'm not saying we don't have a say so. I'm saying we don't have a say so. As an individual, you bet you do. You bet you have. Okay? Absolutely. But you best keep the AA name out of your fucking mouth. Or people are going to think you're talking for AA as a whole. You know, even when people say, who do you represent? I tell them, well, I represent a large number of people in the community that are tired of this bullshit. And that needs to be a good enough answer. And it's true. And not all of them are in AA. No. A lot of people are parents whose children have died. Concerned citizens, just other people. And when the AA name became associated in the public mind with the fundraising campaign, there was still more confusion. It can get confusing quickly, okay? And some people will use that to their advantage. Some givers were under the impression they were contributing to AA, only to be told by friends that AA did not solicit money. Nope. Hence, a long-term liability of dropping anonymity is beginning to offset its short-term advantages. As experience makes this more clear, not only to me, but to my friends of the university and of the educational committee, they agree perfectly and now are endeavoring to correct the situation. Naturally and most earnestly, I hope that none of those involved or the work of the committee will suffer to any degree from our mistake. Such, after all, is the purpose of trial and error by which we learn and grow. Briefly summarizing, I'm rather sure our policy with respect to outside projects will turn out to be this. AA does not sponsor projects in other fields. Okay. Let's say you have an AA group and they have too much money that they don't know what to do with. They have way exceeded their reserve, right? I was in one meeting. It was an online meeting, and because the online meeting was connected with the club, we were paying we were giving them $1,000 a fucking month for what? The justification was this. Oh, well, the club is owned by AA. Not really. Not really. Not sure who that is. All right. But if these projects are constructive and non-controversial in character, AA members are free to engage in them without criticism if they act as individuals only and are careful of the AA name. Perhaps that's it. Shall we try it? All right. I have a feeling that was a guy that wanted to talk today. So, man, good chapter. Gives us a little more education on where AA as a whole kind of stands with things, how we do these things, so on and so forth. So, thank you everybody for being here. I appreciate it. It's always good to see some of my friends. It's always nice to learn and educate, give my experience. Yeah. I'm just at a point in my life where giving my experiences, I just want to give it away. So, all right. Thank you, everybody. I love you. You know I do. Peace out.